Hi everyone, good day to you. I'm Lawin from Indonesia. For the last 5 years, I've been playing my role as the global ambassador of FIABCI Indonesia in promoting real estate sector to the world, especially for the two champion program of my President Joko Widodo, named affordable housing development and 10 New Bali as international tourism destinations. FIABCI Indonesia is the main voice of real estate industry in Indonesia. On the other hand, I do serve voluntary roles in FIABCI as Vice President of Asia Pacific Region and International Board of Directors. FIABCI is the International Real Estate Federation based in Paris since 1951. The biggest real estate federations in the world, comprised of more than 120 principal members of around 40 professionals of real estate industry in 72 countries. FIABCI is a true international gateway for real estate federation to gain experience, knowledge and world-class network. The best part is we have strong collaboration with your habitat. That's why we have this Urban Thinking Talk series. At this presentation, I would like to share with you a very unique topic called affordable housing development. Referring to Article 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family, including food, clothing and house. So we can see that how important the affordable housing development is. What is the actual meaning of affordable housing? I would like to share with you its function rather than to debate its meaning. If you build affordable housing, you create hope, you create life, you create a great contribution to your economic growth of your country. House means shelter for families to continue their lives and hope. House means asset in economic terms. Once you have asset, then you have a big chance to get out from issue circle. In Asia, having house means culturally you have the family pride and recognition from your community. Do you know that currently there are about 500 million people in this world who still need proper shelters? Are you aware that real estate has huge multiplier effects which can generate 174 downstream industry? In Indonesia, 1 unit of affordable housing absorbs 4 workers. So if you build 1,000 unit houses, meaning you create jobs for 2,000 people, hence they can provide basic needs for their families. Let's say one family comprised of 4 people, means 16,000 family members can sustain their life. This is a proof that real estate is a labor-intensive sector, and affordable housing is proven as a trigger of one country's economic growth. I name affordable housing is a very unique development because on one hand, you make profit, but on the other hand, you also make character. In Asia, you can buy the affordable housing from developers or rent it from local authority. Affordable housing in Asia has various of threshold price and types. In Indonesia, the unit price of landed house is below than 10,000 USD and below than 26,000 USD for vertical housing. All units are 2-bedroom types in 36 square meter size. In Malaysia, the unit price of affordable housing is below 73,000 USD with maximum 3 bedroom types. In Thailand, the unit price is below 28,000 USD with 2 bedroom types. In Singapore, the unit price is below 360,000 USD with 4 bedrooms in maximum of 100 square meter size. In Vietnam, the unit price below 65,000 USD with 2 bedrooms in maximum of 75 square meter size. Of course, some criteria should apply to the buyer, such as the buyer should be the first home buyer and their household income should not exceed above certain amount. That's about threshold price and type. How about government side? What kind of support and policy that government will provide? In Asia, besides determining the threshold price and size of affordable housing, government also provides some financial scheme and tax incentive. So the subsidy directly goes to the buyer through the bank mortgage mechanism. In example, if normal loan rate is 10% per year, government will only give 5% to the affordable housing buyer in full tenure of loan. So government will absorb the 5% rate disparitions as the subsidy, and developers will enjoy 10% value-added tax exemption. As a sweetener, the down payment will start from 1% of house price. So in short, you need sweetener to encourage both buyer and developer to support the affordable housing program. In some cases in Indonesia, local government can also provide land bank for free. Then they invite developers to cooperate with them, and it becomes a good output because the unit price will be much lower. In Asia, there are two scenarios of affordable housing delivery. The first one is a public sector led. Strong government intervention like in Singapore, China, Hong Kong, and South Korea. Government will provide the supply to the public through their local authority and state-owned enterprise. In example, in Singapore, the affordable housing supply are provided by Housing Development Board, a special entity owned by Singapore government. In China, local government will provide affordable housing for local workers on rental basis. Second, government and private sector led. So there will be collaboration between government and private sectors, like practices in Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. In this scenario, government provides supporting policy and tax incentive which encourage private sector to support this program. In example, Indonesia government has successfully implemented the 1 million housing program with the full support of the Association of Real Estate Developers in Indonesia. In general, affordable housing development faces four major problems. The first one is land bank. To provide affordable housing, we need affordable price of land. That's why we need government intervention to secure the land. The second one, financial support from bank authority. Affordable housing needs affordable rate. It must be lower than market rate. The third one, rapid urbanization. This is the major challenge of every government in the world, and the speed of spreading the economic wealth to the suburb area is a key factor to reduce the urbanization rate. Infrastructures. The fourth, government must be able to provide good basic infrastructure like electricity, water, and transportation access. At the end, I would like to highlight that Asia still has a lot of demand and a big shortfall or backlog in affordable housing supply. Indonesia alone has 13.5 billion unit backlog. Vietnam and Philippines more or less the same. They still need about 10 million units supply. And as the real estate stakeholders, we have a moral obligations to find a good solutions to address this particular issue. For having more understanding about the success story of affordable housing development in Indonesia, our Association President, Mr. Soemawinata, will explain to you in details after this. Thank you for your kind attention.
Hello everyone, my name is Soemawinata, President of FIABCI Asia Pacific. I'm very glad and honored to be invited to speak on this special event. For the past 23 years, I have been involved to build one of the biggest property company in Indonesia, known as Alam Sutri. We built the biggest commercial and housing area in the Banten province from scratch. The main agenda today is to tell you about the success story of developing affordable housing in Indonesia, which is currently a big concern in Indonesia. The 1945 Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia, Article 28H, stipulates that every person shall have the right to live in physical and spiritual prosperity, to have a home and to enjoy a good and healthy environment, and shall have the right to obtain medical care. It means that the government of Indonesia has to provide houses for all people in every class of life, from low-income household to upper-income household. But the government itself has a limited capacity to develop houses for all citizens. To provide houses for all people, private sector has a strategic role for supporting government's obligation. Broadly speaking, Indonesia has developed a broad set of policies and institutions to support affordable housing. The government of Indonesia aims to provide adequate housing facilities to to low-income citizens and reduce a significant number of housing backlog in Indonesia through program Sejuta Rumah, 1 million houses program. It is estimated that Indonesia needs around 400,000 homes to reduce massive housing backlog of 7.8 million units. Before we continue any further, let me elaborate on Indonesia's 1 million houses program. 1 million houses program is an ambitious initiative to provide 1 million publicly and privately financed housing unit workers. To combat the backlog in Indonesia, the government has constructed a set of schemes and regulations that involve the private sector for building affordable housing. Nonetheless, housing needs and demand are diverse throughout Indonesia and require different policy responses. For poor households in Indonesia, a cultural preference to avoid long-term indebtedness and formal supply constraint mean that the housing deficit cannot be eliminated through housing finance alone. Or we could say that we couldn't rely on market mechanism in terms of providing affordable housing for the poor and the poorest. The specific policies developed in response to poor and people include low-rent apartments, special houses, and home improvement assistance. But 3 of these are specifically created for poor households who are recognized as unbankable. Because of their specific characteristics, the government of Indonesia has to do a direct intervention through regulation to help poor people acquire houses. For low-income people, the government of Indonesia constructed a set of schemes and rules that also involve private sector for developing low-income housing. The low-cost housing are targeted towards citizens with lower than 8 million rupiah monthly. Through this program, the government aims to provide adequate housing facilities to low-income citizens. Over half of these houses will be built using funds from the country's state budget. State fund will also be used to finance the Housing Finance Liquidity Facility or FIABCI. Government-backed mortgage for low-income people. Housing Finance Liquidity Facility is based on a highly subsidized structure that relies exclusively on government budget, funding 90% of the total mortgage amount. The government budget also covers the credit risk by mortgage insurance. Housing Finance Liquidity Facility provide mortgage at fixed interest rate to end user at 5% per annum for 25 years. Introduced in 2011, the market for small houses has been growing, indicating an opportunity for building to play a stronger role. It also means that private developers also play a strategic role, because majority of subsidized housing are developed by the private sector. Banking has been showing their interest in FIABCI scheme. In 2011, there were only 6 banks participating in this program. Currently, there are more than 40 national banks and regional development banks participating in the program. The other financial instrument that support 1 million houses program is Interest Discrepancy Subsidy, or SSB. Introduced in 2015, SSB subsidized the interest rate paid by customers on eligible mortgage, enabling households to pay a flat 5% rate for the duration of the tenure. The product functions by reimbursing participating lenders who must provide 100% of capital. Capital funding is primarily from Housing Finance Liquidity Facility. SSB functions as an unfunded future liability. Only the current bill subsidy has to be budgeted, and contingent liabilities for future years are not subject to budgetary approval. However, SSB scheme is aligning evolving consumers' eligibility criteria. Mortgage-linked down payment assistance or BP 2020 is a housing financing scheme to target low-income first-time homeowners. The scheme provides down payment assistance to match beneficiary savings and a market rate mortgage from a participating lending institution. This program was fully funded by the World Bank from 2017. The latest program for the provision of affordable housing is the Public Housing Saving Program, TAPERA. This program provides fund management body named BP TAPERA in collecting and organizing money for public housing targeted for civil servant, military, and police personnel, state-owned enterprise employees, and also private employees. Its purpose is to accelerate the government program to build 1 million houses per year. The other initiative and incentive from government that matters in developing local housing is tax regulation. Low-income people are not required to pay value-added tax on houses unit purchased under the FIABCI and SSB program. Lastly, in 2015, the government of Indonesia introduced SBUM, a modest down payment assistance IDR 6 million or $408 for household accessing either FIABCI or SSB. Besides a financial and tax instrument to support the 1 million houses program for low and middle income people, the government has relaxed some aspects regarding government permission. By deregulating various permissions for the accelerating of housing development, the government aids and assistance are deemed beneficial to this cause, enabling private sectors and investors to be involved in this program. For middle to upper income households, the mechanism works very well in terms of commercial housing, which is developed by private developers. While this 40% of households in metro area can comfortably afford acquire housing in the formal commercial market. As the oldest and largest property development organization in Indonesia, Indonesia Real Estate Association or FIABCI Indonesia has a strategic role in developing low-cost housing. In fact, we have a broad range of areas, from low-cost housing to commercial housing, from landed housing to vertical housing, from residential area to large-scale developments such as industrial estate, tourism area, warehousing, hotel, etc. Nowadays, Indonesia Real Estate Association has around 6,200 members in 34 provinces in Indonesia. Out of this number, about 80% members are low-cost housing developers. Moreover, we have a capacity to build approximately 400,000 low-cost houses per year and 250,000 commercial houses. In that speed, they contribute around 65% of houses for low-cost housing to the government strategic program, building 1 million houses every year. To increase our contribution to the government of Indonesia, Indonesia Real Estate Association is currently focusing on the development of low-income housing, particularly development of housing for civil servants, military personnel, police officers, and informal workers. On this occasion, I want to emphasize that low price and availability are the complex constraints that prevent private sector from participating in low-cost housing development. As more people move and work in urban areas, it will be critical to support inclusive and well-planned organization and increase the supply of adequate housing. In order to enhance living standards, cities must provide a special zoning area for developing low-cost housing. Zoning is a tool that we can use to direct what types of uses over also potentially a way to change that. For the very area, the government must provide the infrastructure in order to support the growth of economic center and the development of interregional connectivity. By developing infrastructure, private sector will naturally see opportunities for developing affordable housing. I personally believe that failures in the provision of affordable housing have also contributed to the growth of poverty. Housing is not only an economic driver, but also an opportunity for poverty alleviation. I invite all of participants from developed countries to put concern in public housing in developing countries. On behalf of FIABCI Asia Pacific, thank you. Please stay safe and be healthy.